Peace, family. 19 Keys, tapping in with you. Today, we're about to have a really good show because I have some things that I really want to share with you. Before we get there, let me refix my screen before we get ahead of ourselves today. Okay. Peace to the family. How are you? Peace to the family. How are you? I appreciate y'all tapping in with me tonight. Let me check y'all comments out since we are live on this one. Peace, peace. I haven't seen y'all in a minute. I'm currently on a journey where I like to disappear and reemerge. But when I emerge, it's always going to be something important that I need to give to our people, to you all, right? Today is a powerful day. It's known as what, the flower moon. They say this flower moon is at 22 degrees. And they say it represents, assassin's energy, a warrior's energy, where you want to be on point today. You want to learn how to redirect your emotions into intensity. And in lieu of that, I was thinking about cosmic events. And specifically, there's a cosmic event called the Cornelius Borealis, or the Corona Borealis, that hasn't happened in 79 years. And anytime there's cosmic events, I like to research and correlate what happened the last time that event took place. Given that we're existing at the edge of a reset, a completely new time, right? Where we are going through a technological, a social, a cultural, right, shift. But why? All of the signs are in to say that we are now in the age of a global reset. And not only is this star appearing, which will continue to be here over the next 121 years, but there's also what they call the solar cycle 25. Now, solar cycle 25 is crazy because it is one of the surest ways that gives you information when we're going through a financial, right, an economic collapse or crisis in the market. Now, solar cycle 25 is essentially every 11 years. The sun goes through solar minimums and solar maximums. A solar maximum meaning that you have corona mass injection. Corona meaning crown, but specifically we're talking about the sun, meaning that it's sending electromagnetic energy, or what we know as solar flares, to Earth. Now, when this happens and is at its peak, they start to rate how many of these solar flares hit Earth. Now, why is this important? Because again, like I said, this is actually a really good indicator for when we're going through financial crisis, resets. And I mean, over the last 100 years, there's a lot of correlated data. But not only that, there's also societal shifts that happen and technological shifts that happen as well. And we're going to go over some of those. But why is this important for you to know right now? Well, we're actually going to be going to solar cycle maximum in July 2025. So it's coming up very soon. Now, during this time, it has biological effects on the body that scientists have studied, right? But it then also has effects on the market. And we'll get into the why a little later, but we're going to talk about the what as of right now. So this moment hasn't emerged in decades, right? The universe has its own cycles. Ancient people always lived in cycles, and they utilized cycles so that they can have harmony, meaning that they want to know, right, when there's time for crop rotation, right? They want to know when the sun is going to be bursting with more energy, so that, or the moon is coming and having an effect on the cerebral brain fluid in the body, so they can fast during that time so it doesn't affect their emotional state or their cognitive abilities. And what they would do is they would set up these rituals so that all people do it. Cosmological rituals go back all the way into Ethiopia. It's a very African thing to do. There was cults around stars and the moon, right? Because they would follow these cosmological events. And this is actually what allowed man to first start be able to build in the first place. Because you have to think, if a man is not in alignment with the seasons, then he can't make food. So he had to focus and study on cosmological events. This is why all original civilizations built with the stars, specifically in alignment with constellations, pyramids, right? Mississippian mound builders, the ancient Sumerians, they all had knowledge of the cosmos, and they would utilize that knowledge to be able to grow and scale. It's similar to having knowledge of the financial institutions today, knowing at what points in time, like let's say Black Monday, in October, which is a day that people look at to say that this is a day where the market may go down. Why? Because we actually live within cyclical time, meaning that these are cycles that reoccur. But on a human level, if people think that things are going to happen, then we make them happen because there's more anxiety during that day. So people don't want to trade. They may sell more. There's more fear. So therefore, the market ends up going down by proxy. The same thing that happens on July 13th, right? So throughout the years, we can go look at old data that will tell us what might happen because human beings tend to react the same way. So when we look at cosmic data, it gives us information at the highest level of what can occur on Earth. So the last time we had this kind of solar intensity was solar cycle 19. Get a little closer. Solar cycle 19 happened during 1957 and 1958 peak. It was the same year that birthed the space race, the Cold War escalation and the civil rights movement, and the rise of mass surveillance and psychological warfare. But this time is different because another celestial event is occurring. It's the return of the blaze star, which is the T Coronae Borealis. This star, this rare star, hasn't erupted visibly since 1946. Remember that date, 1946. It's a recurrent nova, meaning that it explodes, disappears, then returns once in a lifetime. It's now preparing to blaze again in 2025, synchronized with the sun's peak activity. So they're saying a new star will appear while our current star is heating up to bring in more energy that human beings haven't dealt with in the last 11 years. And the scientists clock these solar cycles every 11 years, and they have actually clocked this one to be wrong. This one is on pace, similar to cycle 19, and they thought that this was going to be a year of lesser solar activity. Now, solar activity is very interesting because it has effects on technology, right? They have been ramping up all of their technology over the last 10, 20 years, specifically to try to make sure that a solar storm doesn't knock all the satellites off. Elon Musk been focusing on retrofitting all of his satellites so that when this solar activity comes in, the solar maximum, they can try to withstand it. The problem is that the universe and the sun is a little bit unpredictable. So they don't know exactly if the material that they retrofitted will stand. So imagine all these satellites get knocked out knocked out the sky. Right? Now, how this affect on human beings, we're going to get into that. But I would love to hear some of you all guesses below. This star hasn't erupted visibly since 1946. It's a recurrent nova, meaning it explodes, disappears, and returns in a lifetime. It is now preparing to blaze again in 2025, synchronized with the sun's peak activity. This alignment hasn't happened in 79 years. In 1946, the blaze star appeared and the modern world order was born. Let me say that again. The last time this star appeared was in 1946, which was after the World War, and that's when the New World Order appeared. I ain't listening. In 2025, it returns. as this world order begins to fall apart. We're at the end of a cycle. I'm gonna give y'all we gonna get deep on this 1946 a little later for some people. You feel me? I might have to do a Patreon for that one because there's some more particulars on that as well. It says that the CIA precursor in 1946, the CIA was founded. The precursor to the CIA was founded. So a new intelligence agency, right? Then there was the Operation Paperclip, where they imported all the Nazis, scientists to build America's tech military empire. We just seen that they imported all of the South Africaners here to America, or at least 50 of them, to escape from them being too good of oppressors. What a psyop. The Iron Curtain drop, which is a global psychological warfare, began. So today, it's a little different, but I'll give you that in a second. Not only that, in 1946, the Nation of Islam reactivated and Pan-African consciousness quietly started to take its second resurrection. Pan-African consciousness. All right, so first of all, let's deal with 1946 first. The precursor to science, to the Central Intelligence Agency, right? It's all to deal with intelligence, if you see, because the Central Intelligence Agencies, right, is this organization that works on behalf of American interests doing clandestine operations. They have all of the data and information, the intelligence on all the things. They started gathering all the data of the world. Then, sounds familiar? What machines are doing? Then you have the Iron Curtain drop, which is a psychological warfare that began. Which psychological warfare was all about controlling what you think. So you have to think about propaganda, right? In the medias and the stories that they started telling the American people to sway their interest to go in certain directions. Then you have the Nation of Islam reactivated specifically after the war, right? So this is when Honorable Elijah Muhammad was dealing with charges of sedition and things of that nature, right? Because they refused to go to war. This is a time where we had allies with Black Dragon Society, right? And people thought possibly they would win the war. That didn't happen, of course. Or not them, but the Nazis. But we'll get into that later, actually, because that speaks towards another detail that we'll talk about. Then you have the Nation of Islam reactivated. Oh, well, we just went over that. Then we go forward into 2025. We have AI is replacing thought. So if we look at, instead of importing Operation Paperclip, which is bringing over these Nazi scientists to help build America's tech military empire, now you have companies like Palantir, right? Now you have Elon Musk Tesla. Now you have all of these AIs. So they was utilizing this H-1B visa program, right, to get the intelligence of the world to come to America. They was taking Germany's greatest thinkers so that they can build out this military technology, right? But now we're utilizing the machines, and it is an intelligence race for AI supremacy. So now AI is replacing the thought, so now it's all about the machines. Now we have governments are scrambling to control cognition with digital IDs, neural tracking, and controlled narratives. So instead of psychological operations or psychological warfare, which control what you think, there's now cognitive warfare controls how you think. So it essentially utilizes your own neuroplasticity against you. Your neuroplasticity is the way your brain is able to change what you think and essentially who you are, changing your identity to where neurons can detach from old habits and reattach with new habits. There's disalignment and realignment. Now, There was a study that came out about in the University of I think Zurich or something on how AI bots was online and they were pretending to be human beings, persuading people to think. Not just what to think, right? But they were actually embedding narratives, memes, and controlling how you think, which is one of the most dangerous things, which is why cognition is actually the greatest asset of our time. Not time anymore, cognition. Your ability to think, deeply think, to process ideas and thoughts. Because they don't need to control what you think if they control how you think. Now, this is dangerous because you think thoughts are yours and they're not your thoughts. They've been thoughts that's been programmed, and you have been letting them get past your filter, your conscious mind going straight to your subconscious because you don't know that these psyops are being played on you. So the question becomes is, what's worse? Believing in too many conspiracies or believing in none? How many of you all think that you can't be brainwashed? How many of you all think that you are brainwash proof and psyop proof? Press 1 if you think you got a super mind. You see that, Supermind? This is sponsored by Supermind, some of the best coffee in the world for cognitive performance. How many of y'all think y'all can't get a psyop ran on you? I want to know. Where my confident ones at? I ain't seeing no ones. Okay. We got some takers. All right. So here's the thing. For everybody that think they can't be brainwashed, you're actually the perfect person to brainwash. Why? See, when you think you can't be brainwashed, your mental defenses actually are down, right? The moment that you think it can't happen to you, it can happen to you. The only way to stave it off is more so of having your cognitive defense of hypervigilance, of thinking that it might be happening right now, right? They might be brainwashing me. So it forces you to question your own thoughts. How did I think like this? Why did I arrive to this answer? Did I even research to make sure it was correct? Because what happens is we're actually the loneliest generation that ever before, even though we're most interconnected online, but we're disconnected in real life. We stare into the eyes of the camera more than we stare into the eyes of a soul. So we are mirroring and mimicking the machine more than we're mimicking the mind and the man or the woman or the human. So you have to be careful thinking that you can't be brainwashed, because that means you probably let things in already and you think they're original thoughts of yours and they're already working. So now you have to focus on digitally detoxing, mentally detoxing, spiritually detoxing, because you don't know which thoughts have gotten past your mental defense systems. And in another video, I'll give a breakdown about that, how to stave off this mental psyops. But number 1 is hypervigilance and high cognition. So it says that if we go compare it again to the Nation of Islam being reactivated after the war, right, and Pan-African consciousness quietly started its second resurrection, what is going on today? Ibrahim Traore, a new star has arisen. Global Pan-African consciousness is on the rise. All of a sudden, a second rising is happening. It's the most powerful thing that we've seen in our time in a minute. See, the cosmos never lies. It brings you back to cycles. There's nothing that people can do about this. Certain things are destined. Now, part 3. And before I get here, matter of fact, let me bring into you all some more evidence about this, actually. Because this is actually very interesting. So, as we were talking about solar cycles being one of the best ways to tell if a financial crisis was going to happen. And I'm about to show you exactly why. Now, where the hell is my damn thing? All right, here we go. So, you have solar cycles and societal transformation. It says every 11 years, the sun completes a solar cycle. These cycles coincide with major shifts in human civilization. So if we're looking at, actually, let's start with number 8, and then we'll come back up to this. I only wanted to go over the last 100 years because I think that should definitely be enough data for you. But there's solar cycle 15 and solar cycle 16, right, was the frontier of the economy to the Great Depression. So right in the years that we're going through a major, right, solar maximum, there's always a financial crisis that take place. You had World War I and economic mobilization. You had the consumer economy that emerged. You had the market bubble that formed. I should have just did each cycle by themselves, but you can go look at this data as well. Solar cycle 17 to 18, you had the post-war pre-construction, right? Solar cycle 19, you had the space age and cultural revolution. Solar cycle 19 was the highest recorded ever. So this was very important because you had the Bretton Woods destabilization, which is the gold dollar convertibility tension. Then you had the space race, which we're going through right now, the Cold War competition that drove technological advances. It was also the start of NASA during that time, right? Then, of course, you had societal issues that was happening, anti-war movements, and specifically women's movements that was occurring at the same time. Solar cycle 21 to 22, during their solar maximums, that was the end of the Cold War era. And then solar cycle 23, of course, we have the dot-com crash that happened during that time as well, but then there's a dot-com aftermath that ended up happening. Then solar cycle 24, of course, we went through digital finance, and if we go into 2025, you're going to see this. That's when we get our Siris and our Googles and things of that nature. Then solar cycle 25, we have our AI revolution in 2025. And we're about to be reaching our solar maximum, and I want you all to prepare for what may come in July and what happens after that, because we could be going through a global financial collapse after that. But that collapse will just be a reset, and we're going to see things come back. Now, if you want to go look at this yourself, go to your AI, and I want you to do a prompt, right? In this prompt, you're going to say, give me correlative data over the last 100 years. And every time there was a solar maximum, I want you to see if it is a good market indicator for financial collapses, right? Or bubbles that happen. And you're going to find that each time there was one, that it was one of the greatest indicators that you can use, right? It's not only with the sun, but they actually do this with the moon, but the solar cycles are more aligned with the financial cycles. Now, it's more on a practical level. It's not something mystical of anything, right? Think about it like this, right? When the earth is getting more electromagnetic energy, right? We actually have people who have more heart issues, palpitations, breathing patterns. Their sleep rhythms that gets thrown off, right? Circadian rhythms get thrown off. So that means that there's more anxiety, there's more sleeplessness, there's people that are in bad moods, right? It's we have crashes that end up happening towards technology, right? Issues that disrupt technological signals. We've always had this where it knocks out satellites and radio signals, right? So this creates fear and anxiety that happens. There is an effect on how it affects our brain waves and our actual very consciousness as well. They say there's heightened sensitivity and intuition that happens during this time. So it's not something spooky on why these things may happen because the market is directly connected to how people feel. So if people are not in a good mood, people are fearful, people have anxiety, right? Then they don't feel like investing, right? And so this actually has a shift because to this day, they're always looking at indicators of fear, of greed, of worry, of doubt, of all of those different things to see what is going to be the sentiment of the market. So during times of cosmological events, right, this has an effect on people, which then affects the market. And then therefore, this is why you then have financial crises, social unrest, and issues that happen. So if you think that there might be a societal conflict that occurs, it's most likely going to occur during July, right? This always been, something that has been consistent throughout time. The last when we entered this cycle was 2019, and then right, of course, after that we had Corona. Right now we are in a time where things are lining up more than they ever have. Right, and the reason that I like to talk about cosmological events is because, or cosmic events, is because we are so disconnected as a people. Right, and that disconnection means that you don't know what's happening to you and why it's happening to you, right? So therefore, you may be in a bad mood and not realizing why you're in a bad mood, right? And so when you do have the knowledge of that and you have that awareness of it, then you have that understanding which allows you to control yourself. It lets you to know when to move and how to move. It lets you know when to invest and maybe when you need to stay away from it, right? It lets you know when to build and what's happening on the planet Earth. While 85% of people are completely unaware sheep, 10% of people on this planet have this knowledge, right? But they utilize this knowledge against the people. So they're building with greed. There was a report that came out today that said that 95%, right? Or 99%. I think it was 95. They might have said 90. Let me be closer to estimates. I believe it said 90%, right, of global warming issues and climate problems are because of the 1%. Right? And this is an effect of capitalism because greed is talking about conquer and dominate at any cost. I mean, Donald Trump is trying to cut down forests right now. So we're living in a place, right, on this planet Earth, in a place in time where greed functions to dominate, never to live in harmony. So people are trying to figure out if, is it the mentality of the people that's broken, or it was the systems that's breaking the people? I would argue that it's the systems that's breaking the people, and capitalism is working the way it's supposed to, but capitalism doesn't produce harmony at all. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to feed into greed, that there's never enough. So if there's never enough, then we're always competing. And if we're always competing, then we always in conflict. So therefore, we can't have a community because the system is no longer trying to create a place that's viable for the poor and the middle class to win. It's only creating an environment where the elite class can win. So therefore, if you're not buying the assets that they're buying, if you don't know all of the tax codes, you understand me? If you're not one of the greatest entrepreneurs or investors or have a certain skill set, then they're saying that you won't win during this time. And they don't care. They said, matter of fact, everything that you do is your individual problem. Well, if we're all individuals that have to focus on our own, then we're all going to be competing against the next person. So that means there can never be any harmony. There can never be a time where there's stability in America because America does not operate off Ma'at codes, doesn't operate off order, truth, and justice. That's not what it's about whatsoever. So you must know the time that we living in, that this thing that they got going on is unsustainable. And that's why the system must fall in order to create a reset. It says, this isn't just a solar cycle, it's a soul cycle. As the sun radiates at full intensity, it scrambles electromagnetic fields, interferes with GPS and communication systems, and activates bioelectrical shifts in the human body. We are solar beings. Melanin is an antenna. Melanin absorbs energy. So that means during this time, we're going to be absorbing this energy. And with this electromagnetic energy, how will we be converting that? Because during the summertime, a lot more people get in trouble. A lot more people get killed and things of that nature. Because we have all of this excess energy. The planet has excess energy. There were studies, of course, that show what ancient people always knew, that the sun is conscious, that the oceans are conscious, that the earth itself is conscious. Why? Because when something becomes complex enough, it becomes conscious. So the water has its own way in the ocean. There's effects to where they've shown where whales or dolphins can affect weather patterns and things of that nature, right? Space, of course, is having its own weather intervention. We're going to see longer aurora borealis, and the aurora borealis is what's happening when you have the electromagnetic energy in the atmosphere, and you can see that exchange happening, and it looks beautiful in the sky. But we're living in an age with modern man been trying to keep these secrets away from you. But ancient man already knew. The Moorish civilizations already knew. The ancient Ethiopians already knew. The Nubian people, the ancient Sumerians already knew. The ancient Egyptians and ancient Kemetic people already knew. Why do you think they always lived according to the star and the sky? But modern man is now living in his phone, in his ego. Don't care about the ecosystem whatsoever, just his ego system. So, your thoughts are electrical and your heart is magnetic. But if there's something interfering with your heart, so if there's electromagnetic energy that's interfering with your heart because your heart is a valve that has to work a certain way. So anything that affects that rhythm throws off this delicate system that you have because your heart is such a powerful, sensitive technology. So now your biofield is affected. So you have to be careful because that sometimes your thoughts can be amplified to be more electrical. And when they're more electrical, right, they're more magnetic. So now if you got the wrong thoughts at the wrong time, you produce the wrong reality. But if you know the times that the universe has heightened sensitivity and you have the right thoughts, then that means that you can manifest that faster. That's why you have to be in tune with what's going on in the cosmos, because it's affecting you at all times. We think we just need man's calendar, to where man's calendar is a distraction from God's calendar. Because you know when the NBA game come on, you know when the next concert coming out, you know when a new court trial is happening, but you don't know when God is setting up cosmic events for you to be able to utilize to free yourself. Stuck in a cycle of man's time. Why? Because the Pope instituted a papal bull to tell you that it's his time. And before that, it was Julius Caesar. But before that, we was operating on the old world calendar, understanding that there was 13 moons, living in cosmological time. We've lost that cosmism. All we got is nationalism. All we got is globalism. All we got is localism. All we got is this local ass thinking. How the hell are you supposed to take over anything? When Muslims pray, they pray 5 times a day. What are they doing? They're praying in conjunction with the sun's time. With the sun's time. You don't understand. We say the morning. We say the afternoon. We say the evening, right? We're talking about positions of the sun. So that means that we're supposed to be living in accordance to those positions, because it's having a biological effect on the rhythm of your thoughts. When your thoughts are speeding up, or when your thoughts are slowing down. And these are creating biological effects on the chemical atmosphere of your body. So this is time you should be thinking, time you should be working out, time you should be resting. God already has his time, but man is living out of time. And that's why He's not living as long. It says, the same radiation that powers technology also powers transformation. But only if your mind is prepared, your consciousness is active, and your community is aligned. They got you by yourself. Human beings ain't supposed to be by themselves. That's why one of the punishments when you go to prison is to put you by yourself in darkness. The prison will even take the sun away from you and isolate you by yourself as a form of torture. So how are we living by ourselves? How are we lonely and not getting sun? Why are we torturing ourselves? Why are we imprisoning ourselves? Talking about financial freedom, but you ain't got cognitive freedom. Think about that for a second. They put men in the hole, which is just isolation without access to the sun, and it destroys your body immune systems. We need oxytocin. We need to have connection with other people. We need that love of bonding. That's what that oxytocin does when you're hugging somebody and you're around a tribe. It makes you feel connected, because without that connection to other people, you're vulnerable. So now you can be manipulated because you're looking for that connection and information. You're looking for that connection in the algorithm. That's why you're scrolling. I'm looking to connect to something, to feel something, to get some stimulation. So during that time, now you don't understand, why am I lost? Why don't nobody understand me? Who am I? So now somebody on the internet is telling you who you are. Well, this is your problem, or this is why you're going. So now you're going down a rabbit hole. You would have never done that if you had a tribe. You would have never done that if you didn't feel alone. You would have never done that if you didn't have depression and suicidal ideation and excess anxiety going on in your mind. They're getting you because you're not thinking, you're not conscious, you're not cognitive, it's not high. You're allowing your greatest asset to fall off. So now you're being manipulated by outside forces controlling how you think. So now here come the AI, here come the influencer, here come these new guys telling you to hate women or to hate each other. And you just want to be a part of something. You just want to be a part of something. That's how cults get you. You just want to be a part of something. So they're going to give you something to be a part of. They got women with the hating of men and feminism. They got men with these new red pills. Now you see whole grown men. Then they got some people with the MAGA and things of that nature. Oh, it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing special about that group that you just joined. It's just that you were lonely. It was just that your cognition was low, so it was easier to run a psyop on you. You don't know that the greatest connection you're supposed to have is with your higher self. You're supposed to have self-awareness, knowledge of self. So therefore, when somebody try to tell you who you are, you say, I already know me. Nah, I don't need nothing. Now they say, no. You can find yourself in this new car. Find yourself in this new girl. Find yourself in this new ideology to attach to. Then you be like, yeah, this is me. Then this becomes your identity. Then you're around people who reinforcing that thought. So first they must isolate you so they can manipulate you. You think capitalism will work so well if people were fulfilled on the inside? You think you would buy so much and eat so much and overindulge so much if you were fulfilled with family at home? If you had a tribe that you connected with, you built with, and y'all had a life that y'all lived in rhythm with, it would be no openings for the enemy. It would be no openings for the enemy. Number 4, your greatest asset is your cognition, but if they control your perception, they never have to change your body. You'll enslave yourself thinking that you're free. Because in a world that's glitching, breaking, and being rebuilt in front of your eyes, you need a mental environment that shields your thoughts, sharpens your awareness, and aligns your spirit. This ain't about being smart. It's about being solar smart. It's about having cosmic intelligence. It's just simple alignment. It's just simple alignment. I had a conversation with a good company today, and I'm like, I've been studying so deep of what these problems are. I gotta provide the solutions. And some of these solutions are simple, but so effective. One of them is like, number one, you have to have digital hygiene during this time. What's your digital hygiene? Meaning, like, do you know the information that you're getting is true? In your information environment, who are you around? How are you checking those thoughts and ideas that enter into your mind? See, what you need is a good source. I was reading something on social media. It was an image of Ibrahim Traore hugging Vladimir Putin. And Vladimir Putin had his hands down, and Ibrahim was hugging on him. And for people that want to believe that image, this image is to taint the power and the idea of somebody like Ibrahim. But it was an AI image. But so many people let it get past their thoughts. They didn't say maybe because they wanted to hate. They're looking for it, or it's reinforcing the trauma. I never met the brother Ibrahim, but I like what he represents. And until somebody show you proof that a person, I mean real proof, it shouldn't be able to, you shouldn't look at a picture and then hate your brother because of it. You shouldn't be able to look at a meme and then believe something on somebody that's been working. Somebody can be working 100 years, 25 years, 30 years. You hear one rumor, one gossip, unsubstantiated, and you're ready to throw your brother away. The enemy got you oppressing yourself in the most dangerous place. The most dangerous place in the world is on the phone now. The most dangerous place in the world is on that phone now. Because you're letting things go past your automatic brain, going into your automatic brain, and your thinking brain is not activated, which is your defense system. So while you thinking it's entertainment, it's really a psychological operation being played on you in a digital environment. And who has time to think? Because thinking is slower than your automated brain, which is called system one thinking and system two. So you don't know. You don't know if it's happening to your children, your loved ones, your family members. Now think about how it's happening to this country, how other countries know that Americans are the loneliest. They know Americans are the sickest. They know the education is low and the consciousness is low. Why? Because the complexity is low. The type of music you listen to don't make you think. The environments you go to don't make you think. Even the food you eat is destroying your cognitive ability, taking away from your thinking. Where you spend your money, we can tell you're not intentional in thinking before your dollar goes out. Even your spiritual systems lack thinking. Oh, I'm just spiritual. Explain it. Oh, well, I can't. I just got a relationship with God. You can't explain the logic, the rationale. It don't go deeper. Out of all the things that you done thought and studied in your whole life, you haven't really gave real thought into your relationship with your higher self. You just throw it to a saying that everybody else uses, and you think that is something original about this connection that you got? When you haven't applied no deeper meaning and you want to. You got the nerve to snuff your nose at organized religion. But you have no organization in your spiritual understanding, in your foundation. They at least got books on it. They at least got rituals that they use to make sure that they're in line with their beliefs. Whether you fall off or whether you think it's good or bad, at least they have some organization, structure, and order. First law of the universe is motion. Second law of the universe, and this is where you can tell there's an author of the universe, because there's a logic to the universe. It's order. See, the masculine mind is order. The masculine mind is order. He got to apply logic, systems, institutions, critical thinking. If we think about that in the universal, we have cycles, we have seasons, right? The universe and nature, nothing is done by accident. Everything in nature and the universe has a purpose. There are laws to the universe that function that we discover, which allows us to operate and understand the cosmic blueprint. That's how we are able to grow, when we understand the laws of physics. And we understand these universal laws as below, so below. We study them all the time, because when we know them, then we can be in alignment with them. The universe is both motion and order. If it wasn't, then it would be complete chaos. Then you wouldn't be able to have life. That is why the scientists, the great scientists of this world, are looking out for other places that have order, for other places that have order that represents life. They're looking to see if there's oxygen in the atmosphere, if there's water there, because they know that there's laws that the universe must obey by. And if there are laws that they find in another planet, then that means that man can then go there as well. Because the man has to live under divine law. You can't escape it. You can't escape it. We only are looking for planets that are in alignment with divine law, alignment with the laws of life that will allow us to live there. Because of where there is no life, there is no laws, there is no life. But there is lawlessness, there is no life, there's just chaos. Systems out of order, anarchy. So we must seek order in our own lives. I put up a post today that was explaining that you don't have a money problem, you have a mind problem. When you're not thinking right and you're not feeling right and you can't order your thoughts and your steps to create plans and execute on those plans. Well, this is why the money doesn't follow. Money follows a good plan. Money follows the see-through and the following of that plan for the production of value. You ain't got a money problem, you got a mind problem. You don't chase money, you develop your thoughts to execute, and then the money comes from the value that you produce from that execution. It is mind right, money right. You ain't gonna find me a person that's feeling good, that is well thinking, that is organized in thoughts, that can't get them $1. That can't follow through with a plan. They say be and it is. And that's what's ordained. When you say be, that means, man, I can follow through with a thought. What I want to learn. Oh, I want to learn some stock trading. I say be then. So therefore, I go through the process of putting myself in motion. I order my steps and my thoughts, and then I execute. And then I learn along the way, so I get better and better, which develops growth after I get into a rhythm, which are my habits. Then your money is looking right. So when we're looking, trying to figure out what is going on with our money, look no further than what's going on in your mind. Look no further than your information diet. Look no further than your friends group, which is why we say, if you have 4 broke friends, you will be the 5th broke one. If you have 5 rich friends, you will be the 5th one. Why? Because we will be influenced by the rhythm of our environment. The only time that doesn't seem to work is if you white and you got 4 black friends that can dance. It don't mean you gonna be influenced by their rhythm. You know, some rhythm ain't transferable, you know, but you're gonna get a little better. You're gonna get better, because if you're not gonna get as good as them, But I promise, if you practice, you go back around your white friends and they gonna be the best they ever seen. Hey, hey. Oh man, I cracked myself up. Oh, snap. So a star returns after 79 years. The sun is peaking, and we're welcoming a new world. The most dangerous threat that we face right now is our cognitive warfare, things controlling how you think. And I need you all to be able to focus because the worlds depend, the elites depend on your lack of focus. Your ability not be able to think. I've been seeing a lot of this narrative warfare being done on the Pope, trying to make him likable, putting him in pictures with, Chirac, Chicagoans, and talking about the video games he played. And it's funny because the people are so slow. The people are so slow that while Diddy is on trial, they celebrating the new Pope. While Diddy is going through RICO, a one-man RICO, I think they ended up having to drop that. The Pope is being celebrated. Now tell me who has the biggest organization that has committed the heinous acts, but we're scapegoating with celebrities as if that matters. Only one of them organization paid out $4 billion to victims. But how are they able to rebrand consistently? Because nobody can check them. The Catholic Church, I ain't gonna get into that right now. Because I had a different, we're gonna talk about that on a different page. And I will be writing a Substack about this. So if you don't follow me on Substack, please do. They'll be going deeper into this. And we're going to be following and announcing these cosmic events on our Supermind page to make sure that as these astronomical events are occurring, you know what to do. Like today being the flower moon, you have to be in alignment to know what's happening above you because it has an effect of what's happening in you. When July hits in 2025 and we go through that solar cycle, it's going to have an effect on social unrest, on societal conflict, on technological shifts. It's going to have an effect on your sleeping and your brainwave patterns and your thinking. So make sure during that time you're fasting and you're being completely intentional and you're preparing, because history shows that after we go through these maximum peaks, we also go through financial calamity. So make sure you're stocking up. Make sure you're a part of a community. We started building out high-level club like a karatsu, which is a karatsu in Japan is when you have companies that invest in each other and protect each other. So if there is downfall and chaos and betrayal and market uncertainty that happens, they can weather the storm and be protected as they protect each other. And that's the idea of having a community that invests in each other and build with each other. And I've been telling people it's find your tribe season. What tribe are you a part of? What collective are you a part of? See, we've been working of going around and setting up our community to be strong. because the goal is to have resilience during this time, to have rituals, to have cycles, to have community meetups, to be connected at a higher level. I had to send a message to the family today. And I had to tell them exactly this about this karatsu, that if, are y'all ready? And I told them that, listen, are you ready to build wealth as a family, to be in alignment as a family, to build as a community, or are we gonna still act like we supposed to be doing these things alone? Now listen, I've accomplished what most men never accomplish in their lifetime. So now I can come to them with the qualifications to say, look, y'all know what I've done. Now I need y'all to work with me because I got a plan. But it only works if everybody agrees. If one person is off, then we can't do this. Because that one person becomes the weak link that destroys the family order. See, I need the family to move as a team. We have to move as a community. We have to become aligned and don't take things for granted as if we can just say we have blood in between us and that's good enough. No, we got to operate like a team. Got to operate like a team. So once everybody agrees, then we lay out the plans. Then we teach them how to move with the same philosophy. Then everybody get instructions on how they supposed to move. Then we have to come into an agreement about who we are. What is our identity as a group, as individuals? See, the problem is we have so much individuality that everybody's getting lost because they're just choosing to be things. And nobody can reinforce an idea that you put in your head when there's nobody to validate it. You call yourself something, you believe in something, and everybody around you is in denial of the thing that you believe. So now you stop believing yourself. But when you're a part of something bigger than yourself, when you're a part of a tribe, when you're a part of a community, when you're a part of a club, now you can see yourself in your environment, and those other people can see you and validate you, and you need that system because out there is dangerous. That's why we got the high level club. That's why we have the Supermind Club. Tonight we just had the book club. We just picked a new book, which is Think and Grow Rich, which you all can get involved in. Go to 19keys.com. We working on, I just had a meeting with my team. We was out in Joshua Tree and we had to connect and realign. You have to understand this process of realignment. We have to make sure that we are in line with the same values, systems, orders, and thinking. So when I sit down with them and I can explain my thoughts and they can explain their thoughts, then we become aligned to know how we're thinking. Even when we're not around each other, we're still connected on the same frequency. Why should you be trying to learn all these financial things by yourself? Why should you be learning how to do content by yourself? Learning what skills, learning what political things to do by yourself? Or decisions to make. You should not. You should not. It's the most dangerous place to be is alone. So we want to help our people get the mind right, get the money right. So I do these things. And I love to have these conversations because you all can go fact check these things. The cosmos is always giving us signs. A new star is arising. A global reset is happening. But a new political consciousness and an awakening is about to take place on this planet Earth. And nothing we're doing right now is by accident. Sometimes you have to slow down, rest, so that you can speed up when it's time for you to get in that race. Don't think your mind needs to be busy at all times. You need harmony, not balance. Balance is a consistent state of tension. Harmony is learning to flow with things that are unequal in different parts. Study, learn, reset. Oh, it's takeover time. I talked to my father and my sister, and I said, I need y'all. I did infinite wealth strategies with them. And my father was teaching the men's classes, and my sister was teaching the women's classes. And I like, we need y'all to do it back. We need the masculine alignment back. We need the feminine alignment back because the people are out of order. So starting next week, myself and my father will be teaching Monday's classes for the men. And my sister will be teaching, I believe, Wednesday's classes for the women. Because when that feminine energy is out of whack, oh, sisters, y'all know, black women, I need y'all to understand me and I need y'all to hear me. They're coming for y'all. They're coming for your peace. And I know that black men will be right next to you, so it's going to be easy to blame them, but they coming for your peace. If you didn't see the report that they put out, they want to stress you out. They just said that black women have lost more jobs than any other group. They just said that they coming for that college debt. If the men are lonely, the women are lonely, and the women have it worse when they're going through it. You're not going to be able to be sustained by your career. You're going to need to have a protector around you. And I'm just talking about physical protection, but the mental, you need to be around some good thinking. Fellas, the same way. You out there by yourself, you get caught up in everything. So this is not a time to be playing. This is a time to fortify with your tribe. Find your tribe. Now you can always join high level club, because that's what a tribe is. We're learning together, we're building together. So as we're going through this global reset, because I'm really focused on getting the mind right. I want you to be in harmony. I want you to be in balance. Scan this right here. It took me a while to take a step back and realize that I don't want to consistently just be working and working and working for money. I want to be working for meaning. And once I had that flip to understand what that meaning was, then every single step that I made was purposeful. That's when I had inordinate growth. But I made the best decisions of my life when I was around the right people. So we do the hikes, we do the bonfires. I give up the game that I know, teaching, learning the mindset, because most of the time it's just a piece of information or it's the right community that allows you to grow, to take your business to the next level, take your speaking, communication, your confidence to the next level, being around other individuals who can help validate your consciousness and your thoughts to keep you elevated during this time of cognitive warfare. See, my father is somebody that I was able to learn from through observation, but he's also a teacher of men, a teacher of warriors, can help you develop that mindset so you're going through a level of resilience. Same thing with my sister, man. She's probably, besides me, she's one of the greatest speakers that speak from the soul. She can reach parts of you that go so deep into your darkness that you know yourself at a level that you never thought was possible. She only speaks from a place of depth. So family, I appreciate y'all tapping in. You're going to be getting access to the newsletters and things of that nature, but the community is very important, especially as we're going on tour. High-level club members will be getting access to exclusive benefits. I will be coming on my way to Oakland this weekend. We have a high-level club/coffee club meeting. It's going to be in the morning. You all are invited. Make sure you find out where that's going to be. It's in Oakland this Sunday. It's going to be in the morning. Then we're going to be Monday. We have a screening of a documentary about a brother who was wrongly convicted. They wanted me to come speak and give some words and host the event. So that's going to be in Oakland at the Grand Lake Theater. You understand me? my brother Pierre Rushing. So take a look at that. And then at the end of the month, I will be in New York. And we're working on this Mind Right Money Challenge. And this Sunday, I know you all been waiting on it. High Level Conversations is back. High Level Conversations is back. The greatest show on earth. So I appreciate y'all giving me your time, and I look forward to having y'all inside the tribe. Make sure you join tonight while applications are open, because once they close and you miss this window, while the flower moon is up, you understand me, while the vibes is high, once you miss that window, we're going to have to shift prices, and we're going to have to close the application process, and you're going to have to wait till the next junction in time. But I would say this is not a time where you want to waste. You want to cultivate your energy with a sense of urgency. Cultivate your energy with a sense of urgency. Being aligned cosmically at all times, and guard your cognition at all times. Go to 19keys.com or go to highlevel.19keys.com. Somebody, please write down the website for everybody that is missing it, and I'll put it in the comments as well. Now, we will be opening up soon our one-on-ones or our smaller group, which is our mastermind group that we're starting back. It's a much smaller group, but we will be having access to that one because I'm energized to do it consistently, you understand me, weekly and bi-weekly, so that we can have more coaching sessions and mentorship to help take you to that next level in life. I appreciate y'all. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for tapping in. Stay tapped in.